So what is up, and welcome back to another video. As you can see in front of you, what we are going to be doing today, we are going to be ranking every Heisman Trophy winner since 2010. And let me tell you right now, this is my favorite video that I have made, but also this is by far my hardest video that I have made. It was so difficult to sift through these guys and rank them 15 through 1. All of them are so close. Like, it is so hard to win a Heisman in college football. Like, I could have put the third place from every year's Heisman Trophy winner, and if you didn't know a ton about college football and you just saw the stats, you would be like, yeah, that looks like Heisman-worthy stats to me, because it's absurd. Like, there's so many good players every year. A lot of the times it's really close, so this was so difficult to make. What I want to talk about is the criteria. Basically, I just went on. The main thing was just watching these guys play. I got a chance to watch all these guys a lot. And then obviously just looking at the numbers and then just how impressive I just thought their season was. It's just an opinion, and this is going to be controversial. There's going to be things some of you don't like, and please let me know what I got wrong or what you think, because there's no right or wrong opinions. There's just opinions. And that leads me into my number one. My number 15 player, that is Jameis Winston. This is already going to upset a lot of people. And Florida State fans, you have a right to be livid about this. Why would you not be? Especially when I'm wearing a Clemson shirt right in front of you. But I swear I tried to be unbiased. I didn't put him at 15 because I don't like Florida State. I actually like Jameis a lot. So here's the stats. He had 4,000 yards passing, 40 touchdowns, 219 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, undefeated national champ. I struggled to put him at 15 because of that last part, because his team was so dominant and he won the national championship and they didn't lose a game. But when I just kept looking through this, I was like, he was the best candidate for 15 when it came down to it. All these other guys' seasons were so absurd, and I feel like a lot of the other guys had a lot better passing numbers. A lot of the other guys were more flashy, and a lot of the other quarterbacks especially did more things with their legs than he could do with a lot bigger passing numbers as well. So I settled on Jameis at the 15 spot. In the 14 spot, I have Caleb Williams, and this might be a little controversial as well. When I remember watching Caleb Williams, he was so flashy and he was so electric, so I almost moved him up just from like watching him play and how awesome he was. But then the stats weren't as crazy as I thought they would be. 4,500 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 382 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. 52 total touchdowns, over 4,500 yards passing. That's terrible, right? That's sarcasm. That's ridiculous. But still, what the guys did ahead of him. And then, they didn't go to the playoffs, so he doesn't have like memorable playoff moments to cap on top of it. I know that's not his fault. His defense was horrible, but this is what I settled with. And again, it was almost by default of the guys ahead of him were just outstanding. And that leads me into my number 13, which is RG3. RG3, 4,300 yards passing, 37 touchdowns, 677 rushing yards, and 10 touchdowns. I believe Baylor went 8-4 this season. So again, the team success isn't there to help bolster anything there, but the stats are outstanding. And that's what I'm saying. The guys like Winston and Caleb Williams, what holds them back more than anything is just what they didn't do with their legs, whereas most of these quarterbacks on this list were electric through the air and then also added so much for their team on the ground as well. And that's where RG3 kind of got the little bit of the edge over Caleb Williams. It was really close. I went back and forth on that one. And again, it was so hard, but RG3, this should tell you everything you need to know about the other guys on this list. RG3 is landing at 13. Baker Mayfield at the 12 spot. This was a great season. Baker Mayfield, 4,627 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, 311 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and a college football playoff appearance, a game in which he lost a classic Rose Bowl in overtime to Georgia. Again, this is a game. He was prolific through the air, but what he did through the air was replicated by a lot of these other guys who put that up through the air and also did more on the ground. But again, this is a fantastic season, fully deserving of Heisman, and such a memorable college football season player. He had so many great seasons, but I settled on him at 12, and it was a really tough choice. I wanted to go with him higher, but looking at it, I feel like I couldn't put him any higher than the 12 spot. That leads us to our 11 spot. This is Jaden Daniels. Daniels is a guy, when I watched him, I thought the stats were bigger than what they were. I was actually a little bit surprised. I thought he was well into the 4,000s in passing yards, but he had 3,812 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, 1,134 rushing yards, and 10 touchdowns. But he was so prolific, man. And like a lot of these guys on this list, similar to Baker, he benefits from having outstanding receivers. But, I mean, if you don't have weapons, you can't perform. But he was just great. He was so fun to watch. He was an LSU team that didn't have a really good defense, so their offense was at full go all the time. He wasn't like some of the other guys on this list where they kind of had to let up because their team was so good. He was so fun to watch. I settled with him at 11 on this list, ranked ahead of some really good players. The rounding into the top 10, I go with Bryce Young. And Bama fans, you got on me a little bit for my national championships ranking video. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. I ranked every national champion since 2010. It was an awesome video. But Bama fans got a little mad at me before I ranked their teams in that video. But Bryce Young, I think this may be the most underrated Heisman season of the last 15 years. 4,872 passing yards, 47 touchdowns, 81 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a national championship game appearance. A game in which I think he would have got a natty if his receivers were healthy, if Williams and Mechie didn't get hurt. But just awesome. I mean, 4,800 passing yards. That's so prolific through the air. 47 touchdowns. Man, he was so good that year. This just reminds me why Bryce Young was the #1 overall pick. And he's going to be great in the pros next year as well. Already showed some promise. Bryce Young, 10. At number 9, I have Travis Hunter. This could be a little controversial. Some people probably have him maybe as 1, just depending on how you view the playing both sides of the ball. I settled with him at 9. I thought that was fair. 96 receptions, 1,258 yards, receiving 15 touchdowns, 11 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, and the Blitnikoff winner, which is the best receiver in college football. Just absurd all the way around. Playing both sides of the ball and playing all the stats is just utter ridiculous. You could argue, it just depends on how you look at it. I think the other seasons, in my opinion, I think what he did, I think he has the most unique season, but I don't think he necessarily had a better season than these other guys. I settled with him at 9 because still is a fantastic season. Like the guys he's ranked ahead of were awesome. I think very highly of Travis Hunter. I think he deserved to win the Heisman, but I thought 9 was fair. If you don't think so, let me know. That's fine. But this is where I came up with Travis Hunter. I thought 9 was a good spot for him. Coming in the number 8 spot, I have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, I thought about putting him a little lower because I almost thought about I was like, man, he got the ball so much. That's why the yards look so high. But then the more I thought about it, I viewed it different. Him getting the ball so many times and getting all of those carries almost was a testament to how great he was. The fact that he was able to take such a beating and it just didn't matter. He carried this Bama team on his back. And he was a running back who kind of carried Bama to a national championship. Like Jacob Coker, all the respect to Jacob Coker, he led Jacob Coker to a national championship, which a lot of people, unless you're a Bama fan, probably don't even remember Jacob Coker. This was Derrick Henry's team. He dragged this team to a national championship, which, again, I'm not disrespecting Coker. You cannot win a national championship. I'm a Clemson fan. I watched Jacob Coker destroy our secondary in that game. A lot of that due to O.J. Howard being wide open. But that's another conversation for another day. Derrick Henry, just an absurd season. 28 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Just awesome season from Henry. Bama fans, you happy? Derrick Henry, number 8. Come on. Number 7 is Kyler Murray. Just like the Bryce Young season, I think this season is heavily overlooked, which is why I have him so high. I feel like he can be a little bit forgotten about. I feel like everyone remembers Baker, obviously, as the Oklahoma Heisman. No one talks about Kyler as much. 4,361 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 1,001 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, and then a college football playoff appearance. So you have 54 total touchdowns. He's in that prolific 4,000, 1,000 club, which most of these guys on this list ahead of him are, which is why those guys down below like Jameis and some of those other guys like Jameis and who else am I thinking of who I put in the 14th spot? I can't remember. The guys who didn't have as much rushing yards, that's why they were docked a little bit, because these guys ahead of them, like 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards this season is absurd. That's just video game numbers. And then obviously the college football playoff appearance on top of it. Kyler Murray at the 7th spot for me. He was so much fun to watch. No one knew who he was coming into that season. Everyone thought Oklahoma was going to take a step back. Baker leaves. He ends up putting up better numbers than Baker did. And again, a beneficiary of great weapons as well. But hey, got to have weapons again. Number 6, Devontae Smith. This is just video game numbers from Devontae Smith. 117 receptions, 1,856 yards, 23 touchdowns, a national champ, and the championship game MVP. This is the Devontae Smith. You were looking at the sole reason why Mac Jones was a first-round pick into the NFL. So Mac Jones, you owe Devontae Smith a lot of thanks Mac Jones was great in his own right. That was a little bit of Mac Jones diss. I know I dissed him in my last video too. Bama fans, I get why you're upset at me. But hey, I have Devontae Smith 6 in this video and well-deserved. It's the greatest season I've ever seen from a receiver. It's also worth noting this was in 13 games. 13, yes, not 15 or 16. 13. This was the COVID season, and he did this. I wish he would have got to play the full 15 games because he would have had over 2,000 yards easy, and that just doesn't get done by a receiver ever, and I wish he would have got to do it. But still, just video game-like numbers, and he was always open. He, again, was also a beneficiary of Sark and just some of the things that Sark was able to do to get him open. I remember a lot of times Devontae Smith was always moving around in the backfield, man. Sark was so creative, but still, he was unguardable. He comes in at 6. Now we move into the prolific top 5. Coming in at number 5, I have none other than Johnny Football. Some people with this one might be a little upset. This might be a lot of people's one. I was looking at it. I think that could be a lot of nostalgia factor for people. He definitely could be number 1 most exciting player to watch. But as far as the best, I have him at number 5, and I think that's fair. 3,706 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, 1,410 rushing yards. Yes, 21 rushing touchdowns, and I also put he beat Alabama on the road. I feel like that deserves to go in there. That's one of the most memorable college football games of the last 15 years. Him beating number 1 Bama, and that was his coming out party. That's what won him the Heisman. That's when everyone knew the name Johnny Football. That's when the money symbol was made famous, and we all know all the lore after that. But you love him or hate him, he's a legend, and he put up one of the best seasons in college football history, and maybe was even better next year and didn't win the Heisman. So, just a great season from Johnny Football. Number 4, Marcus Mariota. This is another one that's really underrated. This was easily in my top 5. I feel like this could be a little forgotten about. But 4,454 passing yards, 42 passing touchdowns, 770 rushing yards, 15 rushing touchdowns. So yes, 57 total touchdowns for Mariota and a national championship game appearance. He was the guy who got Oregon the closest to winning that national championship. Actually, they were a little closer in 2010, lost by 3 points to another guy that we'll talk about later in the national championship. But he did take him to the national championship game. Just another guy with just an outstanding college career. Marcus Mariota was so fun to watch, and he was awesome, man. Like, he did it through the air, on the ground. Almost 4,500 passing yards with 770 rushing yards. It's video game numbers. He was unreal. He's completely deserving of 4 to me, and that brings us into our top 3. Number 3, I have Lamar Jackson. This, again, could be one of the guys that could be voted for most exciting to watch, and he had 3,543 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 1,571 rushing yards as a quarterback. Are you kidding me? And he's still doing it in the NFL today. 21 rushing touchdowns. Just, again, video game-like numbers. I remember the start to this season for Lamar Jackson was unlike anything I'd seen. He had the game where he lit up Charlotte. He lit up Syracuse. He's hurdling guys and then dropped 70 on Florida State in that top 10 matchup. That was his coming out party. I'll never forget watching that game at a 12 o'clock on a Saturday. I was like, who is this guy and why is he the greatest player that I have ever seen? And it was just, I got to watch him in person twice, actually. I was fortunate enough to get to go watch him play Clemson 2 times. One time was in Death Valley in one of the greatest college football games I've ever seen. Clemson won that game, but Lamar was fantastic. I didn't think we were going to win. We could not stop him in the second half. He was so good, so fun to watch, and that brings us into our final 2. At the number 2 spot, we have Cam Newton. Okay, if you're a little bit younger and you see the stats here and you start to get mad at me, and you're saying that, whoa, how on earth is a guy with these stats the number 2? So he has 2,854 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 1,473 rushing yards, 20 rushing touchdowns, and won a national title. That part at the end is what you really need to be paying attention to. He won a national title. This Auburn team was not a team that had any business winning a national title. This was not the most talented team in the country, not by a long stretch, but they had number 2, and number 2 was not going to be denied. Teams tried to deny him multiple times throughout the season. There was teams who played them really close, teams that had more talent than they were, even getting down 24-0 to the Iron Bowl to Alabama, an Alabama team who had tons of talent. Cam Newton willed Auburn to a national championship. To this day, it is the most I've ever seen. This is the first year I really remember watching football. Again, I talked about this some in my national champions video. Like, this team, he will, like, completely put them on his back. Like, anything I've ever seen to this day in college football, and I don't know if I'll ever see anything like that again, especially with the new format when you have to win so many games against so many good teams with the 12-team college football playoff. And the numbers are still video game-like. I mean, come on, 50 touchdowns, 1,400 rushing yards as a quarterback. He was unbelievable. He did everything for that team. He even had a receiving touchdown that year. Look it up. It was awesome. So I probably could have added that in there. But he was unreal, completely deserving of number 2. But I could not. I thought about putting him at 1, but I just could not. And you'll see why in a second. Number 1 is obviously Joe Burrow. 5,671 passing yards, 60 passing touchdowns, 368 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, and a national champion. Wow. I mean, do I need to say anything? I mean, I just read you off the stats. I mean, there's nothing I can tell you to break this down for you, except it's unbelievable. It's the second most passing touchdowns in a season. It's the 4th most passing yards in a season. He almost had 6,000 total yards. Actually, he did have 6,000 total yards. Excuse me. He did have 6,000 total yards. Or I think, did he? I can't do the math on that. He had like right at 6,000 total yards. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Like, you should never in any world even get close to getting 6,000 yards in a college football season. And he won a national championship, and they dominated everybody. And they're the best offense I've ever seen. There have been so many good Heisman Trophy winners. College football is probably my favorite sport on earth. I love sports. I'm sure you do too if you're watching this video. But college football is so fun, man. Especially when I was growing up, it was my favorite by far. I grew up watching all these guys. All these guys were so much fun to watch. This video was so fun to make for me because of that. It was so nostalgic. Getting to look back on these guys' stats and just get to think about some of my favorite moments from their careers. But I had to go with Burrow at 1. And I know there's going to be things in this video that you don't agree with. So please tell me down below in the comments what I got wrong. Who would you put at 1? Who was too low? Who was too high? Let me know. But I really enjoyed making this video. And if you enjoyed watching it, make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, if you want to. We have came out with videos every day so far this summer. We plan on coming out with videos almost every day this summer and at least multiple times a week as we're really getting this channel started. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again soon.